Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about on behaviors that alter your genes to improve your health and performance. There's a natural medicine that costs nothing, requires no prescription, and is available to every single human on this planet. It's powerful enough to regulate your hormones, improve your mood, boost your energy, and even influence your gene expression. That powerful force is early morning sunlight. When you wake up and step outside into the morning light, especially within the first hour of waking, you're not just stretching your body or admiring the sky. You are sending a signal directly to your brain that it's time to activate. You're aligning your biology with the rhythm of the earth. This behavior, though simple, creates a profound shift at the molecular level. At the core of this process is a small group of cells in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN. It's located in the hypothalamus and functions as the master clock of your body. When your eyes receive light in the morning, that signal travels to the SCN. It's found everywhere on your skin. This kicks off a cascade of events. It resets your circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock that controls when you feel awake, when you feel sleepy, and when your body begins critical functions like hormone release, cell regeneration, and metabolic activity. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Early morning sunlight doesn't just help you feel awake. It can actually influence the expression of your genes. Your DNA isn't a static code, it's dynamic. Specific genes are turned on and off based on environmental cues. And light is one of the most powerful cues we have. The light that enters your eyes, especially natural light in the blue spectrum during the early part of the day, tells your body at the genetic level to shift into a state of alertness, performance, and health optimization. One of the first things this morning light does is trigger a timed release of cortisol, but not the kind associated with stress or anxiety. This is a healthy, rhythmic pulse of cortisol that helps wake you up, sharpen your focus, increase your energy, and prepare your body for the demands of the day. Unlike artificial light, early sunlight provides a full spectrum of wavelengths, which are needed to engage the right neural and hormonal pathways. This exposure also begins a 12-14 hour countdown in your brain, eventually leading to the release of melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep deeply and restore your body at night. So in a way, morning light doesn't just wake you up, it also programs your future sleep. If you struggle with insomnia, brain fog, or midday crashes, this simple habit could be a game changer. But the benefits don't stop at energy and sleep. Exposure to morning sunlight is strongly linked to the release of dopamine, the molecule of motivation. When the retina detects sunlight, particularly blue light, it activates the release of dopamine in the brain, especially in areas related to mood and motivation. People who get regular morning light report greater emotional stability, mental clarity, and a stronger sense of drive and purpose. From a genetic standpoint, sunlight impacts what's called epigenetic regulation, the process by which genes are activated or silenced based on environmental signals. This means that simply stepping outside in the morning and looking toward the light without sunglasses can upregulate genes responsible for immune function, hormone balance, cellular repair, and even mood regulation. It's not just feeling good, it's biological transformation. Even 5 to 10 minutes of natural sunlight exposure in the morning can start this chain reaction. On cloudy days, a slightly longer exposure, 15 to 30 minutes, is enough to have a similar effect. But artificial lights indoors don't come close to providing the same biological impact. Natural light is 100 to 1,000 times more powerful in terms of lux intensity, and it carries the correct wavelengths to activate the pathways involved in circadian alignment and gene modulation. Morning sunlight also helps anchor your body's production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that not only stabilizes mood, but also plays a role in digestion, memory, and social behavior. As serotonin rises during daylight, it gets converted into melatonin at night, leading to better sleep and cellular recovery. Through this one habit, exposing yourself to early morning sunlight, you are literally flipping biological switches that control the way you think, feel, and function. You're not waiting for change. You are creating it at the level of your genes. Your body was designed to move. Movement is not just about burning calories or building muscles. It's about activating a profound internal network that touches every organ system, including your brain, immune system, and even your genetic code. Daily physical movement is one of the most effective and accessible tools you have to shape your biology and reprogram your health and performance. When you move your body, you're creating more than motion. You're generating biochemical messages. Every step, stretch, or repetition sends a signal to your cells. These signals activate a wide range of molecular changes, including the expression of genes responsible for energy production, inflammation regulation, emotional balance, and cognitive function. This is not simply a reaction to burning energy. It is a full body communication system that rewrites your inner blueprint every single day. At the cellular level, movement stimulates the production of brain-deserved neurotrophic factor, BDNF, often referred to as miracle grow for the brain. BDNF enhances the growth and survival of neurons, supports neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire and adapt, and improves memory, learning, and mood. Regular movement boosts the expression of the BNF gene, meaning that with every bout of exercise, you are literally altering your genetic programming to become sharper, more resilient, and more emotionally balanced. One of the most powerful effects of movement is its impact on mitochondrial health. Mitochondria are the energy factories within your cells, and exercise tells your body to build more of them. This process, called mitochondrial biogenesis, leads to greater energy production, enhanced endurance, and improved resistance to fatigue. Genes involved in this process are activated through consistent physical activity, signaling your cells to become more efficient and robust. Daily movement also plays a crucial role in inflammation control, a key factor in disease prevention and overall vitality. Inflammation is at the root of countless chronic conditions, from heart disease to depression. Regular movement influences the expression of genes that suppress chronic inflammation while boosting anti-inflammatory pathways. This doesn't require hours in the gym. Even moderate movement, a brisk walk, yoga session, or bodyweight workout can create lasting biological shifts that protect your body at the molecular level. From a hormonal perspective, physical activity fine-tunes the release and sensitivity of powerful substances such as insulin, cortisol, dopamine, and endorphins. Genes related to glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity are directly influenced by your movement patterns, meaning you can lower your risk of diabetes and metabolic disorders through regular physical activity. Additionally, the balance between stress, hormones and feel-good chemicals shifts in your favor, improving your ability to manage pressure, maintain emotional balance, and stay mentally sharp. Perhaps one of the most compelling effects of daily movement is its impact on longevity genes, including those associated with cellular repair and anti-aging. Telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes, shorten with age and stress, but research shows that regular exercise helps preserve their length. This preservation is directly tied to the expression of genes that regulate cell aging and replication. When you move daily, you're not just feeling younger, you're literally slowing the aging process at the genetic level. Movement is also deeply tied to immune regulation. As your muscles contract, they release substances called myokines, which have anti-inflammatory and immune boosting effects. These molecules act as messengers, communicating with your brain, liver, fat tissue, and immune cells to coordinate a state of balance and defense. This means your immune system becomes more efficient, responsive, and resilient simply because you chose to move. The mental health benefits are equally transformative. Physical activity upregulates genes associated with mood stabilization and stress resilience. People who move regularly experience fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression, not just because of psychological shifts, but because their biology is actively reinforcing mental stability. The epigenetic impact of movement creates a cascade of neurochemical and hormonal changes that support long-term emotional wellness. In the context of performance, both mental and physical, daily movement increases blood flow, oxygen delivery, and nutrient transport to the brain and muscles. It primes the nervous system, sharpens focus, and increases reaction time. On a genetic level, the pathways involved in neuromuscular coordination and endurance become stronger and more efficient, giving you a biological edge in everything you do. One of the most powerful tools for transforming your health and performance doesn't come in a bottle, doesn't require equipment, and is already within you. It is the simple, deliberate act of controlled breathing. This fundamental practice has been used for centuries in ancient traditions, and modern science now confirms what those traditions always knew, that how you breathe can shape how you live, think, feel, and function at the most foundational level of your biology. Controlled breathing is not just about oxygen intake. It's a direct line to your nervous system, your hormones, your mental state, and even your gene expression. Every time you take a deep, intentional breath, you send a signal to your body that it's time to shift from chaos to calm, from stress to strength. It is one of the few biological processes that can be both automatic and consciously directed, which gives it unique power. It gives you access to the autonomic nervous system, the system that controls your heartbeat, digestion, immune function, and stress responses, without external tools. At the core of this system is the balance between the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for fight or flight responses, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which governs rest, recovery, and regeneration. Most people live in a chronic state of sympathetic overdrive, constantly rushing, worrying, reacting, and this imbalance leads to inflammation, poor sleep, anxiety, and even cellular damage. Controlled breathing acts as a switch, turning on the parasympathetic state with intention, helping your body return to homeostasis and allowing healing and clarity to take over. From a molecular standpoint, breathwork alters the expression of genes associated with inflammation, stress resilience, and immune function. One of the key players is the vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in the body, which is highly responsive to slow diaphragmatic breathing. Activating the vagus nerve through controlled breath reduces heart rate, lowers blood pressure, and directly impacts the epigenetic regulation of inflammatory genes. With regular practice, breathing patterns can shift the long-term behavior of immune cells, making the body less reactive to chronic stressors. When you inhale slowly and exhale even more slowly, you increase heart rate variability, HRV, a marker of nervous system flexibility and stress adaptability. A high HRV is linked to emotional resilience, longevity, and peak cognitive performance. Practicing controlled breathing for even just 5 minutes a day can improve your HRV, setting off a chain reaction in your body that reinforces genes connected to cellular repair, mental clarity, and emotional regulation. Controlled breathing also influences the production of neurotransmitters, such as gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, serotonin, and dopamine, chemicals responsible for mood stability, focus, and the regulation of emotional states. Deep breathing techniques can upregulate the genes that control these chemical pathways, which explains why consistent breathwork practitioners report reduced symptoms of anxiety, improved mood, and sharper focus. These neurochemical shifts are not merely temporary. With repetition, the body adapts and evolves, changing the biological baseline of how you handle life's challenges. On a psychological level, deliberate breathing builds cognitive awareness and presence. It interrupts the loop of overthinking and anxiety by shifting attention to the body and the present moment. This simple act quiets the default mode network in the brain, the part responsible for rumination and worry, and enhances activity in regions related to decision-making, self-awareness, and executive function. Over time, this rewires neural pathways and triggers genes that favor growth, learning, and higher order thinking. Breath also affects metabolic processes. Certain breathing techniques can increase oxygen efficiency, influence carbon dioxide sensitivity, and help regulate blood pH. This improves energy production, endurance, and stamina. When practiced regularly, controlled breathing supports the upregulation of genes involved in mitochondrial function, the cellular powerhouses, enhancing your body's ability to generate energy and recover from exertion. This not only improves physical performance, but supports long-term health by keeping energy systems clean and efficient. Another remarkable effect of breathwork is its ability to shift perception and reduce pain sensitivity. Deep, rhythmic breathing activates brain regions involved in pain modulation and has been shown to increase the release of endogenous opioids, the body's natural painkillers. This modulation is also reflected at the genetic level, as breathwork helps turn off stress genes and activate those related to repair, reducing the severity and frequency of chronic pain patterns. The breath is the only system that connects body, mind, and genes in real time. Controlled breathing is more than a relaxation technique. It is a strategic tool to influence your biology, regulate your mood, sharpen your thinking, and reprogram your internal environment from the inside out. Sleep is not just a time when the body shuts down. It's a state of deep biological orchestration, a nightly reset during which the body repairs, restores, reprograms, and regenerates. Far from being a passive process, sleep is one of the most active and complex biological functions we engage in, and it plays a profound role in determining how we feel, perform, and even how our genes behave. Quality sleep is a non-negotiable pillar of health and human potential, and its absence is one of the most underestimated threats to performance and longevity. Each night, the brain cycles through various stages of sleep: light, deep, and REM, each with distinct roles in physical and mental restoration. During these stages, particularly in deep sleep, the body undergoes a sweeping cellular maintenance program. Immune cells are replenished, muscles recover, hormones like growth hormone and testosterone are released in carefully timed pulses. This process isn't random. It's controlled by genes that are only activated during specific sleep phases. When you deprive yourself of sleep or sabotage its quality, you're not just losing rest. You're interrupting the genetic programming designed to protect and upgrade your health. At the genetic level, sleep influences the activity of hundreds of genes, including those involved in immune function, inflammation control, metabolism, and brain function. Studies show that just one night of insufficient sleep can dysregulate gene expression in pathways linked to stress, aging, and disease. Genes that should be switched on, such as those responsible for DNA repair and cellular detoxification, are suppressed, while genes associated with inflammation and tissue breakdown are activated. This means that missing sleep doesn't just make you tired. It sets off a cascade of biological disruptions that affect every major system in the body. Sleep also plays a critical role in memory consolidation and cognitive processing. During REM sleep, the brain reactivates and organizes information gathered during the day. New neural connections are formed, synapses are pruned and refined. This neural remodeling process is essential for learning, creativity, and decision-making. Sleep enhances the expression of genes involved in neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to grow, adapt, and reorganize. Without deep REM cycles, the brain becomes foggy, reactive, and disconnected from higher level thinking. Regular sleep, on the other hand, strengthens the networks involved in reasoning, focus, and emotional regulation. The relationship between sleep and emotional health is just as profound. Deep sleep reduces the reactivity of the amygdala, the brain's emotional response center, while strengthening the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thought and control. This balancing act is critical for handling stress, maintaining self-discipline, and processing negative experiences. When sleep is disrupted, emotional regulation falters, and even minor stressors feel overwhelming. The genes responsible for this emotional resilience are highly sensitive to sleep quality and duration. Sleep also dictates the efficiency of the glymphatic system, a specialized waste clearance system in the brain. During deep sleep, brain cells shrink slightly to allow cerebrospinal fluid to flush out toxic waste, including beta amyloid, a compound associated with neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's. This flushing process is only activated during restful sleep, and when it is interrupted or shortened, the accumulation of these waste products can accelerate cognitive decline. The expression of genes that regulate glymphatic activity is time-dependent and relies heavily on maintaining consistent and deep sleep patterns. Another major benefit of quality sleep lies in its regulation of metabolic health. During sleep, the body regulates blood sugar levels, balances appetite hormones like leptin and ghrelin, and restores insulin sensitivity. Sleep deprivation, even for one night, alters gene expression in ways that impair glucose metabolism and increase cravings for high-calorie foods. This makes sleep a foundational behavior for anyone seeking to improve physical health, control weight, or optimize energy levels. The body simply cannot regulate these critical functions without sufficient rest, and it is the genes related to metabolism that suffer most from chronic sleep disruption. Hormonal balance is also closely tied to sleep. Testosterone, estrogen, melatonin, cortisol all follow circadian rhythms that are synchronized by consistent sleep-wake cycles. When sleep is regular and deep, these hormones are released in perfect harmony, supporting strength, vitality, mood, and immune protection. When sleep is neglected or delayed, this hormonal orchestra falls out of sync. Cortisol spikes at the wrong time, testosterone drops, and melatonin, the hormone responsible for initiating sleep, becomes irregular. The genes governing these hormones are light sensitive and time dependent, and they rely on consistent sleep routines to function optimally. The immune system is deeply intertwined with sleep as well. Nightly rest enhances the activity of T cells, supports the production of cytokines that fight infection, and coordinates the expression of genes that govern immune surveillance and repair. A single night of poor sleep reduces the body's ability to fight off viruses and recover from illness. Over time, this leads to immune exhaustion, higher inflammation, and greater vulnerability to chronic disease. Through sleep, the body turns on its defense mechanisms, restores internal balance, and builds the resilience needed to thrive in a demanding world. The light you expose yourself to and the way you use your visual system play a profound role in shaping your biology, mental state, and overall performance. Far beyond simply illuminating your environment, light is a powerful signal that instructs your brain and body when to be alert, when to rest, how to regulate your hormones, and how to structure your internal clock. Your visual system is the most dominant of all sensory pathways, and it communicates directly with deep brain regions that an increase in cortisol, the hormone of alertness and energy, and a suppression of melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy. This rhythm prepares you for mental clarity, physical readiness, and emotional stability throughout the day. Morning sunlight doesn't just regulate your energy levels. It also programs the expression of genes related to immune defense, metabolism, and stress resilience. Just 10 to 20 minutes of natural light in the morning can increase the expression of antioxidant genes, balance inflammatory pathways, and synchronize hormonal pulses. This synchronization strengthens your immune system and stabilizes your mood. Light enters not only through your eyes, but affects your skin and cellular systems as well. Exposure to blue light in the early hours also increases dopamine production in specific brain areas, which enhances motivation, attention, and goal-directed behavior. The opposite is also true. Poor light habits, such as excessive artificial lighting at night, exposure to screens before bed, or inadequate daylight during the day, can desynchronize your internal clock and lead to widespread dysregulation. When your body receives the wrong light signals at the wrong time, it misinterprets day as night and night as day. And this desynchronizes between different parts of your brain at the same time. And so your sensory precipitous for survival are inadequate daylight during the day, can desynchronize your internal clock and lead to dysregulation in circadian rhythms and cycles of sleep. In sleep, this confusion alters the release patterns of crucial hormones and suppresses the genes that govern cell repair and detoxification. Over time, this leads to poor sleep, hormonal imbalance, cognitive decline, and lowered immunity. This is why avoiding bright light exposure, especially blue light late in the evening, is essential. It allows melatonin production to ramp up and enables your body to initiate the processes required for recovery, memory consolidation, and healing. Your visual focus, not just the light itself, but how you use your eyes, also plays a key role in regulating your internal state. When you focus your gaze narrowly on a specific point, especially up close, you engage the sympathetic nervous system, increasing alertness and readiness. This is useful when performing focused tasks or trying to achieve high performance. In contrast, when you expand your gaze and take in panoramic views, like looking at the horizon or observing a landscape, you activate the parasympathetic system, which induces calm and lowers stress. This ability to shift your visual focus becomes a lever for controlling emotional and physiological states without external substances or interventions. Visual input also affects the brain's reward system. Seeing sunlight, nature, and open space elevates serotonin levels and increases the expression of genes linked to mood regulation and neuroplasticity. This is why exposure to natural light in outdoor environments is associated with lower rates of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Regular exposure to light in this way can upregulate brain-directed neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a molecule essential for learning, memory, and mental resilience. Simply stepping outside in the morning or taking breaks to look at the sky throughout the day becomes a strategy for neurological enhancement and emotional stability. Moreover, light exposure influences metabolic health. Light-sensitive genes in your fat cells and muscle tissues respond to circadian signals, dictating how efficiently your body stores or burns energy. When light exposure is aligned with natural day-night cycles, these genes operate efficiently, leading to better glucose regulation, improved insulin sensitivity, and healthier weight management. On the contrary, disrupted light patterns alter these gene expressions, leading to sluggish metabolism and increased fat storage. Visual and light exposure, when used consciously, becomes a form of biological tuning. It allows you to shift your nervous system, reset your hormones, activate or suppress gene pathways, and take control of your energy, mood, and cognitive function. Your body is built for adaptation. It is not designed to live in perfect temperature-controlled environments all the time. Exposure to elements like cold and heat doesn't merely challenge the body, it trains it, shapes it, and activates dormant genetic pathways that are directly linked to enhanced health, performance, resilience, and longevity. The right doses of deliberate cold and heat exposure create powerful physiological responses, flipping biological switches that strengthen immunity, accelerate recovery, burn fat, and even reprogram your genes to function more optimally. When you expose your body to cold, whether through cold showers, ice baths, or cold weather environments, the first thing that happens is an immediate release of adrenaline and norepinephrine. These are powerful neurochemicals that enhance alertness, sharpen focus, and shift your body into a state of readiness. Simultaneously, cold exposure activates brown adipose tissue, a type of fat that burns energy to produce heat. Unlike white fat, which stores calories, brown fat burns them. This process, called thermogenesis, is a metabolic upgrade triggered by the cold. It forces your body to generate its own heat, which requires energy and oxygen, resulting in improved mitochondrial efficiency and an overall boost in metabolic health. Cold exposure also influences gene expression related to inflammation, fat metabolism, and immune response. When you expose yourself to cold consistently, the body adapts by expressing genes that build greater tolerance to environmental stress. These genes support cellular repair, reduce systemic inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity. Research shows that repeated cold exposure can increase levels of adiponectin, a hormone involved in regulating glucose and fatty acid breakdown, while also downregulating pro-inflammatory cytokines. In essence, short-term discomfort leads to long-term resilience, with cold triggering the expression of genetic programs designed to protect and heal the body. On a mental level, cold exposure enhances willpower and mental toughness. The discomfort of cold is undeniable, and it challenges you to control your response to stress. Over time, this builds psychological resilience. The brain learns that it can endure discomfort, which translates into stronger self-discipline in all areas of life. But unlike the short bursts from digital dopamine sources like social media or processed sugar, the dopamine rise from cold exposure is prolonged and steady, creating a sustained sense of energy and focus throughout the day. Heat exposure, such as from saunas, hot baths, or intense heat environments, carries its own unique benefits. When the body is exposed to high temperatures, it initiates a response called hormesis, a beneficial stress that triggers adaptation. In the heat, the body increases heart rate, activates sweat glands, and ramps up circulation. This is not just about detoxification or relaxation. The heat stress initiates cellular processes that mimic the effects of cardiovascular exercise. Blood vessels expand, improving vascular function. Heart rate increases, enhancing aerobic conditioning. This process improves endothelial function and supports the expression of genes that protect the heart and arteries. One of the most powerful effects of heat exposure is the production of heat shock proteins. These proteins are critical cellular guardians. They repair damaged proteins, protect cells from stress, and enhance longevity. Heat shock proteins are activated in response to high temperatures and are linked to reduced risk of neurodegenerative diseases, improved muscle growth, and more efficient recovery from exercise. The expression of these protective proteins is a direct result of controlled heat exposure and is an example of how environmental stress can lead to cellular strengthening. Heat also amplifies the release of growth hormone, which is essential for muscle repair, fat metabolism, and overall physical regeneration. Just a few sauna sessions a week have been shown to significantly increase growth hormone levels. Meanwhile, the intense sweating induced by heat improves detoxification and the regulation of electrolytes, both of which contribute to better hydration and nervous system performance. Saunas also stimulate BDNF, brain degradation neurotrophic factor, which promotes neurogenesis and brain plasticity, supporting better memory, learning, and emotional regulation. Both cold and heat trigger the release of endorphins, natural painkillers, and mood enhancers, which elevate mood and relieve symptoms of anxiety and depression. These temperature stressors teach your body how to regulate stress, recover faster, and stay mentally sharp. When used regularly and mindfully, they become tools for physical conditioning and emotional mastery. They instruct the body to become stronger and more efficient, not just through effort, but through adaptation. The genes activated by cold and heat are not theoretical. They are real, and they are powerful switches that move you closer to the healthiest, strongest version of yourself.